When we desperately cling to relationships at any cost, when we surrender our dignity and debase ourselves in the name of love, we send a destructive message deep into our subconscious. I am incomplete without external validation. This internal dialogue gradually corrodes our self-respect, and without realizing it, we lose the very essence that makes us attractive to others. We transform from someone worthy of admiration into someone easily overlooked, easily discarded. Carl Jung, one of psychology's most brilliant minds, revealed that genuine love, the kind that nurtures and endures, is born when we've fully integrated all aspects of ourselves. It emerges not when we seek someone to complete us, but when we choose to share our journey from a position of wholeness and self-fulfillment. Most individuals, however, mistake attachment for love. They confuse emotional dependency with affection, believing another person can fill their internal voids. This belief is merely an illusion, a psychological trap set by the unconscious mind, reflecting our deepest wounds, unresolved traumas, and emotional scars carried since childhood. When someone degrades themselves for love, when they emotionally prostrate themselves before another, hoping desperately for acceptance, they're actually exposing their most hidden wound. They're reliving abandonment fears, the agonizing feeling of inadequacy, the conviction that they possess no inherent value without another's approval and presence. Jung offers a revolutionary perspective on relationships. Everything we experience in love mirrors what exists within us. If someone ignores, rejects, or fails to appreciate you, it's often because a part of yourself hasn't yet learned to acknowledge and honor its own worth. The problem lies in society's conditioning that love must be a constant struggle, an endless battle requiring limitless sacrifice. We've been told we must fight relentlessly to maintain relationships, proving our affection without boundaries or conditions. This concept isn't just flawed, it's dangerous. Love isn't about submission or diminishing yourself. It's not about settling for less than you deserve. In its purest form, love is expansion. It represents growth and the evolution of two individuals walking together without losing their identities in the process. Jung spoke of individuation as the path towards self-completeness. This journey can't be achieved if we live through another's gaze, seeking in external love the validation we deny ourselves. When we depend on someone else's affection to feel valuable, we become prisoners of that relationship, living in perpetual fear of loss. In this fear, we begin to compromise, to settle, to betray our own needs and desires. This is where humiliation takes root. We cling to those who reject us, emotionally begging for affection, accepting crumbs of love, hoping desperately that someday things will change. Here's the truth. Authentic love is never begged for. Real love doesn't arise from desperation or lack. It flourishes from inner balance and self-assurance. When you love from insecurity and fear, you inevitably create toxic relationships built on dependency, manipulation, and suffering. Conversely, when you love yourself enough to never lower your worth, when you possess the inner strength to release what no longer serves you, something extraordinary happens. You begin attracting a different caliber of relationship, one where you're valued, respected, and treasured for who you truly are. You radiate self-sufficiency, confidence, and a light that doesn't seek approval, but shines independently, unapologetically, and powerfully. I know these words are resonating with many of you right now. If you're experiencing that inner recognition, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Psychic Dose, and activate notifications. Share your experiences in the comments below. What part of this message struck a chord with you? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Jung taught that everything in our lives responds to the energy projected from our unconscious mind. Our thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns shape our experienced reality, whether we recognize it or not. If you treat yourself with dignity, if you value and respect yourself, you'll attract unbreakable connections, relationships based not on need or fear, but on genuine connection, mutual understanding, and shared growth. Healthy love doesn't enslave or hurt. It doesn't demand self-betrayal just to keep someone by your side. True love emerges when two complete individuals choose to walk together, not from necessity or fear of loneliness, but because they consciously choose each other. This choice can only occur when both have completed the necessary inner work to truly know themselves, heal their wounds, and stop projecting unresolved fears and insecurities onto their partner. If you've ever felt compelled to humble yourself for love, if you've fallen into the trap of begging for attention, if you've believed love must be earned through sacrifice and effort, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is this person truly meant for you? Is it worth losing yourself just to keep someone else in your life? The truth is, when you stop humiliating yourself for love, when you learn to let go with dignity, when you value yourself enough to refuse anything less than what you deserve, something powerful happens. Real love arrives. A love without chains, without fear, without dependency. A love that doesn't destroy, but helps you grow. A love that's simultaneously free and unbreakable. When you decide not to lower yourself for love, when you stand firm in your dignity and self-respect, you become magnetic. Not because you're trying to impress anyone, but because you're in harmony with your authentic self. People who don't emotionally beg for attention share a common quality. They radiate security, confidence, and authenticity. They don't seek validation because they already know who they are, and this deep self-knowledge makes them truly irresistible. Jung showed us that what we attract into our lives is never coincidental. Every experience, every relationship, every connection we form reflects our psyche. If you consistently find yourself in relationships where you must beg for love, where you feel ignored, undervalued, or treated with indifference, it's not merely bad luck. It's a sign that something within you needs addressing. Perhaps it's an abandonment wound, a fear of inadequacy, or an unconscious belief that love must always involve suffering. Whatever it is, it will continue manifesting in your relationships repeatedly until you choose to confront it. Many believe that trying harder, giving more, being more patient or understanding will eventually earn them the value they seek. But love doesn't operate that way. It isn't a negotiation or a transaction where the one who gives most automatically receives more in return. In reality, the more you struggle to be seen, the more you sacrifice yourself attempting to receive love, the less valuable you become in the other's eyes. Attraction doesn't stem from need. It springs from respect. And no one truly respects someone who forgets themselves just to keep another person around. Jung spoke of the shadow archetype as the part of ourselves we prefer to ignore. In love, this shadow manifests when we allow fears to dictate our choices, when we accept less than we deserve, when we justify someone's indifference, when we convince ourselves we must change who we are just to be loved. All this projects something we refuse to acknowledge within ourselves, a lack of self-love. But instead of facing that reality, many seek compensation through external validation, believing that if they can just get someone else to love them, they'll finally be worthy. This is a fatal mistake. Healthy love never arises from desperation. You cannot build a solid relationship if the foundation is fear of abandonment. You cannot attract a strong, fulfilling connection if you're willing to endure anything just to avoid being alone. True connection happens when two people choose each other freely, not because they need to fill a void or fear solitude, but because their energies naturally align. For that to happen, you must first do the inner work. You must learn to let go, to release those unwilling to value you, to close doors that lead nowhere. Letting go isn't losing. It's winning space for something better. It's opening yourself to the possibility that someone exists who will truly see your worth, someone ready to embrace what you offer. But as long as you hold on to what doesn't nourish you, you continue blocking the arrival of what you truly need. Jung taught that life constantly gives us signs, but we often fail to listen. We cling to draining relationships, believing that letting go leaves us with nothing. But emptiness only exists when we haven't learned to be at peace with ourselves. When you release someone who doesn't value you, when you refuse to beg for love, when you decide you'd rather be alone than in poor company, something extraordinary happens. Your energy shifts, your self-perception strengthens, and surprisingly, the very person who once ignored you often begins seeing you differently. Not because you did anything special, but because the energy of desperation and scarcity disappeared. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. This isn't a manipulation strategy. It's a genuine transformation within you, a profound shift allowing you to live from wholeness rather than lack. Because when you truly love yourself, when you respect and value who you are, you don't need to convince anyone to choose you. People not aligned with your energy naturally drift away, while the right people begin appearing. Self-love isn't just a trendy concept. It's not about mirror affirmations or posting inspirational quotes. It's an act of deep self-respect. It's about having standards, knowing when to say no, refusing to settle for the minimum, understanding that you never need to humiliate yourself to be loved. Because real love, the kind that truly matters, will never put you in a position where you have to beg for it. Remember, the love that truly transforms isn't what comes from others, but what's born within you. When you finally understand this, when you step into your power and recognize your intrinsic worth, love ceases being something you chase. It becomes something naturally gravitating towards you. Because you're no longer seeking validation, you're radiating it. And that's when love in its purest form finds you effortlessly, creating an unbreakable bond that transforms not just your relationships, but your entire life.